Representative Moul.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm so tickled to see that you are back with us from your recovery. In the interest of time, I'm going to make a statement, and I'll preface the statement with, thank you for what you do, okay? I applaud each and every one of you for what you do. I'm also going to say that we are out in the middle of the ocean with this, in a boat with a hole in the bottom of it the size of a soccer ball, and we've got a teaspoon to bail it out. The water coming in is the amount of drugs coming into our families and our communities, and the teaspoon is all we have for money to fix this problem. Okay? What I've done over the summer, our policy chair had opioid hearings throughout the summer. I was privy to sit in on a couple of them, and who I don't see here today, but it's the pharmaceuticals. Maybe there are. But just in my direct family, in my little circle, when I started going to these hearings and starting to really sink my teeth in and talking about it at family gatherings, my daughter, who had a C-section last year, comes out and shakes a whole bottle of leftover opioids at me. My brother-in-law, who had a knee replacement, says, I got a whole bottle left over too. And I got to start to wonder, why isn't the pharmaceuticals and the AMA starting to sink their teeth into this, saying, hey, we're creating a drug-addicted society, and it's our fault. And I want to point the finger exactly where it belongs. You throw the candy in front of kids, eventually they're going to not want to do anything but eat candy. And that's where we're at today. Now, if we don't fix that problem, your problem's just going to get compounded worse and worse and worse. And then Kathy's going to come to guys like me and Kathy and Tara and Scott and say, we need more money to fight this. And we're going to say, gosh, we don't have any more money. We're tapped. That's where we're at. It's a statement, again, I don't mean to be accusatory to anyone, by all means. But if we don't address the problem at the root, the weed's gonna keep growing.
If I can just make a quick comment about that.
Please.
So I absolutely agree with you. There are some reports out there that say that the first time a child is exposed to narcotics is when their wisdom teeth are pulled out. And so they get that first dose of narcotics then, and because they're children, perhaps they don't think that there is going to be this issue. My daughter had back surgery, and she was sent home with all sorts of narcotics, and then when her friends at school found out about it, then they wanted to start coming over. So guess what happened? It all went away, and she had to deal with it a different way, because the children know. They know, and then these children become pregnant. Right? And then
Absolutely.
we have to work on contraception. We need to stop the problem before it even starts. But we are all here because we have the after effects. We have the pregnant moms, we have the babies.
And we have to
Thank
deal
you.
with that side.
Yeah.
We will never treat our way out of this problem. We will never arrest our way out of this problem until we pull the root. And the root of the problem is flooding our marketplace and every medicine cabinet with way too much of this stuff. One of the questions I asked one of the docs at one of our panels was, what did you prescribe? And he was an older guy. What did you prescribe before opioids became such a big thing? He said, well, people just lived with a little more pain. Okay. So we're going to fool our mind, we're going to numb our mind. Keep in mind, when you take the pill, it doesn't go to your knee, doesn't go to your wisdom teeth, it goes into your brain. So we're going to alter our brain to kill the pain. Not saying that we don't need something, but this is destroying our society.
And I think the other, I totally agree with everything that's been said. And so I'm always a plug for listening to our older youth as well. And so, the data we said is that there's about 16,000 kids in care. 82% of those 16,000, parental substance abuse was part of it, right? And 52% were under the age of 10. So we need to actually start listening to our kids too. So it's an issue with our babies, but it's an issue with all of our kids. I had the opportunity to actually go and be with a group of folks in New York State over the past 2 days, and there were kids who talked, and there were 4 youth, they were New York State youth, who had been in care. Each of them talked about parental substance abuse as part of the reason that they entered care. And right now there's a young man who had started out in the foster care system, had a 1.4 grade point average as part of it, graduated from Yale, and is now going to enroll in a doctoral program in Harvard. He wrote this book. I just started to read it last night. I just got it Monday. I'm like halfway through it already. And part of it is it's an issue with babies, but it's also an issue with our teens. They're coming into care because of their parental drug addiction. And we know, right, it can be a cycle. So we also have to start listening. So I guess I would encourage you to. We have some wonderful youth across this state who can testify in front of this committee about the impact it has had on them as youth in our system, not just the babies, right? Because we know if we're working with the babies, I think we have to make sure we have a two-prong approach.
Can I throw one plug in here, Madam Chair, very quickly, if you don't mind? Anybody that really cares about this, that wants to understand this issue through the eyes of a drug-addicted youth, there was a program on PBS, I can't remember, Nightline or Frontline, I think is what it's called. If you go under Frontline, it's called Chasing Heroin. It's a little over an hour long, I believe. I watched it through once. You'll really get a good idea what it's like to be on the other side of this. And it's something that we really need to take seriously and do something about. Thank you, Madam Chair. I've taken more than enough time.
Thank